right.
We're there. We made it.
Make sure we're hearing everything the way we should. Yes.
Check.
Yes.
Make sure we're live over here. Yes, we are.
If my phone says we're live.
Yes.
That's
That
what I
means
needed to
it's
hear.
through.
Yes, we
Should
are.
I watch it?
Do it in the Hail group. I'm going to send it to our... What I needed to hear.
Through.
Yes, oh my.
Feedback.
I got to turn this on. I got to mute it. All right. Guys, don't look at this. That was not a fat guy thing to do. That was a non-wasteful thing to do.
You're in a safe place here.
Hi, Richard.
Hello, Richard.
What's going on?
Good to see ya.
Long days and pleasant nights.
Fellow travelers along the path of the beast.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, whoops, that's me. Let's give everyone a few minutes to jump in here.
Yeah, we are known on this level of the tower as the horror show.
Well, we'll get to it.
We
shall get to it. But I need to copy the link.
Boobs. Yeah, boobs.
Beebs.
Those are like the sweetest boobs I've ever
Sorry,
seen.
just put on Twitter, and Twitter had boobs.
Total boobs.
So many boobs on
What are
Twitter.
we talking about? Oh yeah, the stand.
The standoff.
I am so happy with that thumbnail. I gotta say.
Oh boy, I'm just awaiting the torment.
Dude, it's frankly it's deliciously talented of myself to put together such a thumbnail in such a quick.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice little.
Marcia, how happy are you?
I'm super happy with it.
I mean,
I'm jealous I don't have sparklies.
If it sparkles.
All right, and we are posted on our Twitter and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, so this is binge-worthy. So we're gonna let Fuego start.
Well, it's a crossover.
It is.
It's our first crossover.
But you still have to do your binge-worthy segment. Did you know how long all of them are?
They're about an hour.
They do range. Some go as low as like 40 and some change. Yeah.
It's the binge-worthy show.
I've got the information. Yes, there are 9 episodes.
All right.
I'll let you do it.
All right. I'll let you do it.
I'll let Fuego do it. He's the king.
He's got it good. Okay. All right.
He's the king. It's okay.
Anibal, what's up, Anibal? Good to see ya. I'm gonna put this out. Move the chat. Move this over here. Move that down.
The binge-worthy is the stand binge-worthy.
That's the question. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this party started. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Fuego.
I'm Ian Fuego here.
And we are here to do, finally, our review of the 2021 miniseries adaptation of The Stand. Miniseries, maxi-series, might be some debate as to what you'd call it. It's 9 episodes.
I think some have classified it as a limited series.
Limited series,
like with Watchmen, how that was like 9 or 10 episodes also, and so
that's fair.
It's a mini.
I mean, if you go past 3 or 4 installments, people are weird about the classification. But tomato, yo.
But yes, we have not talked about it since our first episode, in which we stated we might do this weekly. And then we proceeded to not do a single weekly episode. Fuego and I toyed with it about halfway through, both at episode 4 and episode 5. But ultimately, we just decided to wait because it was going to be a lot of the same, I think. Episode to episode, we would have been like, there's stuff we liked, there's stuff we didn't like. The pacing continues to be completely all over the place, but the characters can be fun at times. I don't know. So we're going to get into all of it here, but we are not going to hold back on the spoilers. However, I think we should save them towards the end if we possibly can.
Yeah.
So anyone that joins, we won't be spoiling until we say adamantly, hey, we're spoiling now and stuff like that. But up until then, I think we can talk non-spoilery about the series. And I don't know. However, this is not just any TV series review. Marcia, what kind of review is this?
This is a binge-worthy review, and our first live binge-worthy review, and our first crossover binge-worthy review with Hale. So I'm kind of excited. We're breaking some cherries today.
Oh,
truly, in fact, and also because I know your opinion is a little bit different than mine and Cecil's about this.
That's right.
I think, like, whereas I'm a little more in the middle, he's a little more dissatisfied, and you didn't like the 94 miniseries, right?
No.
Oh,
or like
whoa.
The source material.
I was trying
to remember
I'm
which.
not a fan of the stand.
Yeah, just
The
in
source
general.
material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you have read it, right?
I have read it.
The uncut or the original?
The whole thing.
Okay, so the uncut is the one that tops over 1,000. The original manuscript is like around 6, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, basically with that longer version that came out in 90, 91, whatever it was, King added back in original manuscript. So it wasn't as much a George Lucas sort of situation of, putting in these old scenes, whatever. But yeah, I personally love the source material and the text and whatnot. What is it about it that you don't like? Just curious.
I mean, it's the payoff. You get super invested in the characters, the story. You're expecting like this big like head off between the good versus evil, the devil versus God, and all of this stuff, and it's like, no, just kidding.
I feel like it does build to an epic conclusion, but that's just me.
Epic conclusion? I don't know about all that.
Oh yeah, this guy who just likes to blow things up decided to just blow shit up.
Yeah, he just ends the whole thing.
He's not on really anybody's side except for himself.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, he's a wild card, and he's there for a reason, maybe on the good side of things. But yeah. Overall impressions, I want yours first.
Starting with overall impressions, I will say that I was, as you can see by the thumbnail, I was not a fan of this iteration of the story. There were aspects of it that I liked, particular actors, personally, that I think shined over not only the rest of the actors in this, but the original actors that might have played these roles. In the original series from 90, was it?
1994.
94,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so they put out the uncut version of it. It's like all these years later.
So that's what I have to compare it based on. I have not read the book. So I was trying to give it, the benefit of the doubt, but this show was choppy in its presentation. It did not focus on the characters themselves until much too late. Yeah. It feels like, even though this was a 9-hour or a 9-episode journey, it still somehow told less of the story than the, 4-hour journey previously?
Well, it was 4 previous 2-hour installments.
So
when you took out commercials,
when you took out commercials, it was like 6.5 hours, right?
I believe it was 366 for the new version, and then if you took out intros and outros for the new one, it was around 480. So they had around 2 more hours of actual runtime in this new version, and still
felt like it told less of the story.
Yeah.
That's what was so weird about it. They chose to focus on such odd things and give time to such odd things as opposed to the actual character development and things like that. And I had great hopes for certain people in this. I actually had very, very high hopes for Whoopi Goldberg playing Mother Abigail. We'll get into that during the acting, but this show just dissatisfied me at almost every single turn as I watched it. I liked certain things, but if I had to give it a versus, like a percentage on both sides, I would say I was 75% dissatisfied versus 25% satisfied.
Wow.
So that's how I felt about it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I am assuming, Marcia Parker.
Yeah.
So it's so funny, like, because as I said, the source material, I'm not a fan of. I did not like the book. I did enjoy the first miniseries. I thought it was well done for the 90s. And this one I rather did enjoy it, actually, as a time investment and just overall good feels. Like, it felt like it was more streamlined, which I kind of liked. I would just get to the point, let's get it over with. Okay, we're done. Yay! I got through it.
Which is strange with that longer running time, that it still felt more streamlined.
It felt really a lot more streamlined. Well, because they did show things and they didn't him and haw over a lot of stuff. I felt like it, the book
I guess,
itself,
but everything felt so underdeveloped
one,
as a result.
No, you knew the key things that you needed to know, and then you moved on. the reason why I had such a big problem with the book was because you did spend a lot of time. It's like what The Walking Dead, right? You spend all this time investing yourself in these characters that you love, and then when they get killed off or something happens to them in their story, you're sad and you're moved. But you also have seasons to like build that. And this, it's like, no, you know what? I already know that I'm going to invest all my time in this character, and it's not going to pay off because the book doesn't pay off.
You know that because you've read the book.
Yeah.
But what about everyone else watching the series?
Did you watch the miniseries? Like, no.
What about anyone that hasn't? I mean, so... But
the
that's
thing. I felt like
this
was a
is
better
relying
payoff.
on everyone needing to have experienced it in one way, shape, or form.
I feel like for the level of buy-in that you had with the characters and what happened to them in the end was on level. Like, you didn't overinvest in somebody and then not really understand how they underwatched.
But presume that you had not read the book or had not seen the original series.
Okay.
Would this have been enough?
I still like it.
You think so?
I think because
it's valid. It's valid. I'm just curious.
I feel like it gave you the 3 acts. It gave you beginning, middle, and end. And for each character that
in however order.
In whatever order, whatever. I actually watched it as if it was a fresh material.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
another turn of the wheel, as I said.
I have.
Dun, dun, dun.
He said it. Okay, sorry.
Right there in the thumbnail, by the way.
I thought it was. I mean, you guys can disagree, and that's fine. But I think because I'm so far.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. I'm so far removed from it at this point that I thought it was well produced. I thought it was well acted, and it didn't linger to where I lost interest. And for that, I thought it was good. And like,
do you have to?
Do you have to? That I can actually get through the series without too much investment.
Okay.
And I like that for that.
Fair enough. No, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Now, Fuego.
And just to play
where dost thou fall?
And just to play devil's advocate real quick about those who are familiar with the source material versus those who are not.
We've all got drinks here.
Yeah. I basically, so my middle brother, he was watching this, and he was telling me the longest time that he wanted to read The Stand, wanted to listen to the audiobook because he travels a lot, and he was like, I'm a few episodes in, and I feel like I should have read The Stand before I watch this, because
don't ever read The Stand,
because there's because there's a lot that he felt like was going over his head, and that was specifically from the storytelling choices as far as the timeline jumping. That was something that in all the interviews that I've read, whether it was Ben and Josh Boone, the people who adapted the show, showrunner and stuff, they said that was one of their deliberate choices to make it their own, was that they wanted to not really show the onset of this pandemic, this global destruction of 99.9% of the population. They felt like it was in bad taste, and that was even before, like they conceived this even before we experienced what became 2020. So the irony at hand is really ridiculous. But Matty Jorson, who is a big-time guy in Hale who's been very critical about this, he is definitely right about the fact that since you don't go in a linear journey with these characters, a lot of payoffs and mysteries are not there because of how they decided to structure it.
Everything is muted as a result of the storytelling choices in this.
Yeah,
I felt like.
But I did enjoy some of these new characters a lot more than I expected. Maybe my favorite episode is episode 2, where we meet this new Larry Underwood that I feel like is much more reflectively flawed to how he was in the book, where he's like screwing people over and he steals his popular song from somebody else. That was not in the book, if I'm not mistaken. And so they made him a little bit more of a shithead, and yet that helps with redemption. The problem is, I felt like him and so many other characters just got put to the side. Just like, Nick and Tom Collin. I loved the new Tom Collin, by the way, but I was just like, man, Nick was given a disservice. Like, Ralph Bretner turns into Ray, and Ray we got nothing from really until she is chosen to go on the walk with our guys. And I know we'll get more into acting and stuff. So there were aspects of performance that I appreciated a lot about this. There was a few new scenes, like the courtroom scene, that despite its silliness from one actor in particular, I thought actually worked as an added bit. so it's, as I've gone on record to say, this is a mixed bag in so many ways. I wouldn't go as far as 75-20. I'd go more like 60-40, because I liked aspects about the Mist TV series that they did, which was a totally different turn of the goddamn wheel. So I'm probably more forgiving about stuff like this, and I appreciated certain things that they did, and I'm glad that we got this new finale, which in some ways was direct from the book, but also brought in some other stuff that they claimed they were trying to keep out of this. And once we get the spoilers, we can properly discuss it.
So the thing I just realized, Marcia, is since we're doing this live, we're not going to be able to tack on our cold open that we did. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to them right now.
After, right?
I'll show it to them right now.
Oh, okay.
A cold open without my interaction.
So Marcia and I did a cold open to ourselves that I'm going to show you guys right now, and I'm going to show it up close and try and get the microphone closer so you see why we laughed when Marcia was hitting me. So, all right, here we go.
I haven't
try and work this out. Nope, you haven't. So, all right, hang on. I need to pause. And, darn it. All right, hang on. Here we go. I'll just turn it and show. It's not going to work. God damn it.
They can't see that.
Yeah, no, this isn't going to work. I should have uploaded it ahead of time. But I did not. Basically, let's reenact it, Marcia.
Yeah, do it so I can properly witness it,
yes.
Guys.
All right, so. All right, Marcia.
I'm going to take a sip of my drink in this case.
So, hey, Marcia, what do you think we can expect from this review?
I think Fuego's going to be like, it's another turn of the wheel.
Yep, pretty much.
Because it is. Anytime you have a different adaptation, and like it's King's terminology that he likes so much, I try to be more accepting and forgiving when these liberties are taken. You want to pour some of mine into yours?
Sure.
But I mean, the thing is, and this is a shout out to just any of my friends who understand this. There's also those who are like, King writes stuff so good, why does everybody feel like they need to put their own stamp on it? It's something that a lot of these very drastically divergent adaptations, like the most recent Pet Sematary, for instance, they try to deliberately do something distinctively different. Those approaches don't always work, so I don't know. I still found things to appreciate about this.
Look, eventually we will talk, and again, we are going to be discussing spoilers towards the end of this review.
There's a lot I want to spoil.
The last episode in and of itself is something completely new written by the King himself. Yep. So we will be discussing that. Trust me, because it is not as final as the original story would have you seen. It is.
But that's where they the fact that the episode is called The Circle Closes is something tying in with the uncut version.
I don't get it. What circle?
Okay, so
the wheel?
Possibly, because of the fact that okay, in the uncut version of The Stand, and this doesn't spoil anything for anybody, the uncut version of The Stand added a previously written prologue and epilogue. The epilogue is some of what we saw in that rainforest.
Okay.
And then the prologue is like
really? The rainforest was in the book.
In the book.
Okay. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I felt like that was just a tacked on thing.
That ass,
Marcia's
though,
like, no,
I don't know.
That ass.
It's not
Dude,
America's ass.
That ass has been in like pop culture since 2000 whatever in True Blood. Yeah. Eric Northman's ass is a national treasure.
Yeah, it is good for good. He's what, Swedish? I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
The Skarsgårds are Swedish, but so the prologue, The Circle Opens, that he added was actually what you see at the beginning of the miniseries with Guy escaping from and trying to save his family. That was not in the original book. The original book starts right in Arnett with the crash into the gas station. That's how the book starts. So we didn't get that prologue of the escape and him trying to save the family.
Well, so let's get into the review proper here, we normally do. So the story itself is, of course, well known. It is a terrifying virus breaks out of a government facility and decimates 99.9% of the world's population. The remaining population is then divided into essentially two camps that are having dreams of two different leaders. One being a elderly black lady by the name of Mother Abigail, and another being the Dark Man, aka Randall Flagg, which is leading everyone to Vegas, whereas Mother Abigail's leading everyone to Colorado. Instead of Nebraska, whatever.
Yeah. The fact
of little import, to be honest. That change is of little import.
Hemingford,
I think it's
Colorado,
very important.
Okay,
and she's in a home, as opposed to being this strong character, living on herself, still
living on her farm,
baking her own bread. It bothered me a lot.
Okay.
I did not feel like Mother Abigail was written as strong in this.
I was actually frustrated with it too.
Weak?
Well, I mean, if you're in a care facility, I would kind of contend.
Cancel Jaime and Fuego.
No.
I know. We know what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. Like, she was supposed to.
She should have been, someone still living on their own. And here's the thing: we need to talk about it in acting. We will.
Yeah.
But the story is again, it's two different groups of people which are pulled in different directions that eventually clash in the name of either God or AKA or not AKA or the Dark Man and whatever he represents. And eventually everything comes to a head in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is where the Dark Man has set up his headquarters, so to speak. But that's the long and short of the story. Now, here's the thing. This particular presentation, to me, as I mentioned earlier...
Oh, Maddie's in the house. What's up,
felt extremely rushed. Yeah, you know what? Real quick.
He has some stuff to say.
Before we launch into the actual story, let's say hi to the people that are here.
Amen.
So we got Mark Pearson, we got Sharon Beveridge, we got Maddie Jorison, we got Amstel54, Dr. Death, Austin Bunnell sending in a $5 super chat. What made the book and 94 series was the fact that you saw the characters suffer and adapt to the effects of the flu. The time jumps kill it. And I 100% agree with Austin there.
It does.
Corey Novak, I'm such a fool for you. That's and then Aaron Anderson, very very kind, $20 super chat. Welcome to fatherhood, Cecil. Cecil, hope all is well. Actually, everything is really great, but quite honestly, the only reason everything is really great is because I have a wonderful woman that is Soren's mother that just is the best mother a guy could ever ask for his son. So, Dodo Lion Dodo is here. Hail to Stephen King by this show, but this show is a bad adaptation. Fair enough. Burning Witch Studio, Corey W. Nap019 was here earlier. Spootdev, good old Media Kraken in the chat. Anibal earlier on, plus Robert Forrest. Thank you guys for watching. Gibby the Great. I've read the book. Wish I could stick around, but I need sleep. Move to the Netherlands. Move to the Netherlands, y'all. I'll watch the review tomorrow. Fair enough, Maddie.
Yes.
Have a good sleep. Fuego will chime in on your behalf.
Shout out Mark Pearson too.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, man.
I really liked it. Had my gripes, but entertaining all the same. The guy who played Bobby Terry would have made a better Lloyd, though. Don't know who Bobby Terry is. All right, so
Lloyd was this version of Lloyd.
This version of Lloyd I did not like nearly as much as the. So okay, but it seems like we have a lot of issues with acting, which we'll get to. Yeah. But story to me, the problem was it was too rushed. It was so choppy that you did not get to care about the characters and their plights. Like in the first series, I cared.
Certain ones we did.
Some maybe, but Franny and her father, I cared so much more about Franny and her father in the original series than I did in this one. Yeah. Excuse me. I feel like it was too much was glossed over, and with the time jump mechanic, the eventual Franny and Stu finding each other and getting together, to me felt like a wonderful oasis in the midst of the Death Valley of chaos, right? But we were completely robbed of moments like that in this series because of how quickly they were getting to things. So I feel like that's a major detractor. When you can't build your relationships with these characters, you don't care as much what happens to them. And add that to the fact that I did not like this Franny very much.
Really? I thought you said Odessa Young was pretty okay.
No, I thought she was just great.
I still think Molly Ringwald was better.
I agree. I felt like this Franny was just grating to me. She felt like an annoying younger sister the whole way through. But
she was a little more
that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is the storytelling in this was so choppy that it did not allow me to form bonds with almost anyone except possibly Stu and the old guy that was replaced with Greg Kinnear, who I love.
I actually thought Glenn Bateman was
in this version was great.
Choice.
I loved him, and I actually loved Kojak and what happened with Kojak. But that leads me to Tom Cullen, where I'm not sure I liked Tom Cullen. So anyway, let's lead into the acting. That's my thoughts on the acting. I had such positive reactions to certain people, but very negative reactions to other people. So I don't know what that says about the acting, except the fact that some people clicked with me and some people did not click with me. Marcia, what about you?
I don't know. I had fun. I obviously had fun. I think I had more.
I know that's you're the balance.
Yeah, like, and I don't know why. Like, because I thought because it was so streamlined and it just kind of got to the point in a lot of things that it was just easier watch for me. And also, like, I understood the story and I knew what was going to happen. But the things so I could just sit back and enjoy it. And I thought the production was so well done that, like, it allowed me to just kind of pick up on the stories that was given to me and enjoy it a little bit more. Like, I thought Franny and Stu was great. I love the scene.
You didn't feel shortchanged?
No.
Like it was just thrown together?
But
is that because you know about their relationship?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't talk for the Marcia that didn't know that the Stan existed before 2021.
All right, fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. If you've read the book, though, I feel like you have a lot of the gaps filled.
I think I come in a different way, and in fact, like, they're like, okay, so the Marcia that didn't like the new It was because I absolutely loved the source material, and there was so much in there that I wanted to see and I didn't get, right?
Okay.
So now this is the Stan Marcia, that I don't care about the Stan like I did It. It just was not the story for me.
Okay.
So for what I got, I was entertained. So
that is fair.
And I loved Harold. He was perfect.
Really?
I thought Owen T was. I thought Owen T.
I hated him, but I couldn't tell you.
You're supposed to.
I know. I couldn't tell you if it was because it was the actor, because he just played the character so well.
He's supposed to give you the GBs, and like every time you saw that
Tom, every time
you saw the Tom Cruise like picture of like. I was like, this is amazing! I love this so much. Every time I was just like, that's so great.
And yet there's a lot of people...
I did enjoy Larry, too.
And yet, sorry to interrupt, but there's a lot of people who contend the hero character, you were supposed to significantly sympathize with him this time around. And
really? Because no. Not at all.
I've honestly always sympathized with Harold's character.
Dude, Harold's a bitch.
Okay, being the...
Forgive me, but guys. Okay. Hey, listen. Harold's a bitch.
Okay, point taken. However... like, the guy who was friend-zoned and shunned and all that stuff, that was me growing up, so I can kind of sympathize to some of his plights, and yet that's just...
Fuego is Harold, apparently. I take it back.
Yeah, well, in the source material, Harold is chubby and with glasses and pines over a girl that doesn't give a shit about him, and so I will say he's a little bit creepier in this, but the fact that they did kind of... As opposed to, I think there are a lot of main characters. There's definitely characters in this that are main and then just like veered to the back. And so he was made a little bit more of a main character in this because he was instrumental storyline-wise in 94 and in the book. But he was given a lot more screen time in this, I thought, and that was a deliberate thing that some people have had issues with.
Well, I think it played because he's the antagonist, but other than Flag, but he was the mole. The girl,
one of the two.
One of the two, but he was like, he was the one that brought the story along. I mean. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought he did a good job.
Who I didn't despise Amber Heard as much as I expected because, I mean, a lot of people think she's a bitch and she's playing kind of a bitch of a character in this.
She plays into her type in this.
She does. And I thought that it was pretty well done with her as far as both performance and the way they wrote it. And the fact that we did have just how far back she knew she was destined to be his, then that was some stuff that was added. If I'm not mistaken, in the uncut version, the stuff where they're playing with the Ouija board kind of thing when she's in high school or high school, college,
grade
whatever.
School, I thought.
Grade school, maybe in this, but I feel like it was college in the book. I could be wrong, but yeah, I thought Amber Heard was not bad. sad, and a lot of people wanted to boycott this show because of her presence, because they're like big Johnny Depp fans. So, yeah.
So here's the thing: there are two other big actors that we need to talk about from this.
You know who we have to talk about.
So we got to talk about Mother Abigail and the Dark Man. So first, let's talk about Mother Abigail. Now, I had high hopes.
Who was she again?
Yeah, I had high hopes for Whoopi Goldberg. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
She apparently wanted to be cast as Mother Abigail in the original adaptation in '94.
Scheduling conflicts couldn't
I think it was appropriate. However, I don't think she did as good a job as I was hoping she was going to do.
I don't think
she did not. No, she did not feel like the Mother Abigail that was so in tune with God and so kind of ethereal in her performance. She was way more, I guess, down to earth and grounded and jaded to an effect. Like, she did not seem as, forgive me, and this is a shame. It's the magical black person in film. She did not feel as magical to me as Mother Abigail did in the original Stand, where she felt special. She didn't feel special to me in this. So I don't know if that's how she performed it, how she was shot, how she was, presented via the other characters. I don't know what it was, but I liked some of Whoopi's choices. But overall, I just was not as enwrapped with her as I was with the original Mother Abigail.
Can I chime in here?
Yeah, by all means.
I really think it was the production and editing, because I feel like there was a lot of opportunity where she should have been present that she wasn't present.
Okay.
So she didn't feel like she was this commanding force over the group.
She felt tangential.
She felt like at first it was like, oh, okay, she's bringing everybody together, but then they kind of like blocked her out. She wasn't there. Like all of a sudden you were being led by the core five.
Because they had to spend time to develop those core five instead of devoting time to her.
When she did finally get the screen time, like I felt like by the end when she had the thing with Franny in the end, I think it was finally like
that was the best. Yeah.
Had her moment to actually show who she was and why she was important. You don't do that on the last episode.
No, you should have done it way sooner.
And ironically enough, what they did in that last episode, without spoiling in it, like they did kind of revert on the fact that they de-emphasized the spirituality and the magic.
Because she's back. She's like, he's like, why are you back? She's like, I don't know. I shouldn't be.
I honestly didn't like it.
Originally in the story, I wasn't, but I'm back now because Stephen King has changed over the years.
And also the way that they wrote this, and just to chime in, where Corey W is saying, I'm curious if the writing had something
Whoopi was a lot colder. See, I agree with Austin.
I don't know that Mother Abigail was written very well in this version, and so I mean, I will say that
I think they should have got the chickens too. Okay, thank you.
I still feel like in the original version, like the Mother Abigail character, and in the source material obviously too, was portrayed as being so wise and kind of sage-like that when they decided to send spies, when they decided to go against her rule, it felt like a bad decision. Whereas in this one, she didn't seem as in tuned and smart, and it almost felt like
they did it before she even knew.
And it felt like they were making the right decision by undermining her. I don't know if I like that choice,
No, and after the fact, she's like, no, they shouldn't have done that. And it's like, well, no, this scene doesn't make any sense now. It doesn't. There's no point to it because it's done.
And also, maybe that does kind of it's a double negative as far as the fact that in all versions of this they send in spies, and then in turn after Mother Abigail was against spies, they send in more people to die, despite the fact that she. So that's a little flaw in King's writing, maybe a little bit. I mean,
would agree
you have
that
to send in people that are expendable.
I do admit, I feel like in the resource material, and one of the things I loved about Mother Abigail, and when they're arriving into Colorado, Nebraska, whatever, is that they're all being joined at the Mother's table, right? They all come into the kitchen, they're all there, they're gathered, and you kind of...
and that was in Nebraska in the book, actually.
And you feel like the heart of the home type of thing, and that's kind of what you're standing for, right? You're standing for the good, you're standing for your family.
And that's why you care when it's all blown up.
Right.
But in this one, I did not care when it was all blown up, because I wasn't attached to anyone in the camp.
And then when they did get blown up, it was like, who just got blown up?
I was going to say, Don, if you want to shut our door, feel free. Okay.
But I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I guess that's the thing for me. Like, I'm like, I wasn't really that invested, but it was
but that's a problem
watch.
in and of itself.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I just liked watching it.
Stuff that I will say is that I did not hate New Vegas as much as a lot of people did.
I love New Vegas.
With the gladiator fights in the pool, sawing each other up, cool. All that different shit. I did not dislike it. And, Maddie, my buddy from the Hale group, has talked about how he felt the budget showed in a lot of ways. They did Vegas, and like some of the fact that they did not show the full scale of the pandemic. Larry's crawling in a sewer, crawling in a sewer for some It references, as opposed to going through the Lincoln Tunnel, which is one of my favorite sequences in anything King has ever written. But yeah, I also thought Brad Dourif's daughter as Rat Queen, who was doing all the
I did not even
AV,
put that together. That Fiona Dourif was there.
That was Fiona Dourif doing all the AV. Rat King is a throwaway character in just the ranks of Flag's people, and I thought they did some interesting stuff with her as this weird MC and everything she did. I actually really enjoyed her character being a complete reimagination of it. Who I hated though was, "Hi fellas, we were waiting for you." I couldn't stand what the Wolf Kid did with Lloyd. I mean, Miguel Ferrer was much more of a calm and composed. That still, you could tell he didn't agree with everything
this
Flag
guy
was
was
doing.
so desperate it didn't matter. He was just a bitch. So
much of an over-the-top performance, it did not work for me. And he still tried to have an 11th hour, I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but I like that character. It's really the only one that did not work for me as far as one that was shown a lot of screen time, because there were others who were just relegated to nothingness, and I thought that was a travesty. But I've always kind of sympathized with Lloyd too. There was Harold on one side and there was Lloyd on the other side, and they're both these conflicted characters that are very flawed and aren't sure if they're doing the right thing as far as their servitude. And I feel like they're just that night and day kind of contrast. And I was disappointed in a lot of ways, especially with Lloyd here. So
all right, now let's get into, acting wise we've talked about weaknesses and strengths. Effects wise, let's talk about the effects. So there's some, again, I think there's some positives and there's some negatives. Like the way they decided to do the end was just cheesy to me.
Episode 8.
Lightning. Yeah, the lightning. And then I felt like they completely cut corners on showing actual apocalypse aftermath. Yeah. There was so few bodies littering anywhere that people were, up until a couple of times when they're like, well, we better get some bodies in here because it wouldn't make sense if there weren't any. I felt that they nailed the apocalyptic atmosphere way better in the 94 series than they did in this one, personally. The actual virus effects, it was the same, except they just added the bullfrog neck to anyone, which was gross, but not enough of a difference to warrant the fact that that's what they focused on with everyone. Ooh, bullfrog neck. Ooh, bullfrog neck. Ooh, bullfrog neck. No. Give me the wasted away fucking bodies in the cars everywhere that the 94 series had. That's going to hit home way more for me than bullfrog necks all over the place. I'm sorry, but that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, the bulge is described in the source material and shown in the comics and everything, but yeah, the decomposition, I can agree.
It's way scarier.
Yeah.
Marcia?
I mean, I guess it depends on the timeline you're in, right?
Well,
if it's just happening, then they're not.
Was the bullfrog neck enough for you, or was it not scary? Did it not feel apocalyptic?
I agree. There wasn't a lot of bodies, and there wasn't. But I'm also desensitized from The Walking Dead, so I'm just kind of whatever.
Easy comparison.
True.
I don't care to see it because I've seen it 1,000 times already. I was just focused. I mean, I guess I was just watching the production value of it and just listening to the story and the acting and stuff. I mean, which is kind of besides the point of the show, I guess, because you're looking for the disease and the death. I did in the beginning when when the baby when they have the baby die and all that stuff, and I did the underground bunker stuff where shit hits the fan and Stu has to get out. I really enjoyed that. I did like it when they did showcase like the transformation of the virus. But you're right. I mean, they don't focus on, like, even when they were piling up bodies and doing all that, they were there, but, like...
It just felt weak.
It just felt like, it's just another day, piling up bodies, doop-a-doop-a-doo. Hope this doesn't smell bad. You know, and, I don't know, it was fine.
I mean, we did get them clearing out the corpses in the aftermath in that first episode, you know, with Hawk and his homeboy Ben, you know, but yeah, it was definitely descaled, obviously, and maybe some people point that to the budget.
And it doesn't feel, this series did not feel like it was a horror series at all. It felt like it was a drama series. Good versus bad.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic drama. You guys ever watch Jericho?
Never got around to it.
I did.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty cool show.
It ended quickly.
Yeah.
Austin Bunnell says, I would have loved to see the Weasels. Let's agree the opening of the 94 show was perfect. And I kind of agree with that.
Blue Oyster Cult, which opens the book. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Easy.
But Angus asks, and this is the last part of the acting that I wanted to touch on, what did you guys think of Skarsgård and his performance as Randall Flagg? So, my thoughts? I thought he was good at times, and then he was not given the chance to shine outside of that. He was the dude in the desert, and then he was the dude in the penthouse, and that was fucking it. That was it. Like, he did not get the chance. He went and visited Lloyd at the jail, but there was virtually nothing else where you could point to him being as cool a character as he was in the 94 series. And not only that, but when you actually got his demon version, it was so lame. It was Burn Victim City, and that was it.
The effects right
so
there,
while I love Skarsgård, I love his talent.
Yeah.
This was not good. This was a waste of a very talented man for the character. It was a waste of a character, even.
I mean, it goes back to the writing and just like the choices that they made. It's just this, they treated him kind of the same, which is weird. The choice that they treated him the same way they did with Abigail is that they didn't make him as grand as they supposed to. Like, he didn't oppose a threat. Like, I think that was one of the biggest lacking. He did not seem like
Abigail's opposite.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you really felt that there wasn't a good versus evil. It wasn't us versus them. And it was just like, okay, there's the Vegas people and there's us. And, like, you didn't get a lot of, like, well, why are there spies or why are they doing this? It's just kind of like, I don't really... If I didn't know why, like, by reading the source material, I'd probably be very confused on why you would, like, okay, butt against each other. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I still liked it, but I agree with you that there wasn't any stakes in the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was a much more stoic performance, dare I say, and Flagg is known in every iteration we have seen him as, you know, whether in the Dark Tower stuff or Eyes of the Dragon or whatever. He's honestly more so like just a fuckery mischief maker kind of guy, almost more like a Loki, and that was what I was just gonna say. And you think he's so powerful, and then you pull the curtain back and realize, oh, okay, maybe he's not as much as the bravado implies and whatnot. They still had a couple good things with him, like tearing that dude apart in the elevator, and I mean there were bits where you kind of got the vibe, but I'm with both of you in the fact that they kind of pulled back on Mother Abigail and him. I thought Skarsgård was going to get more screen time and more stuff to do, just like I thought Mother Abigail, Mother A, as they keep calling her, as M.A. at sometimes, which I was just like, okay, we have to abbreviate everything in this day and age. It's really dumb. But yeah, I thought both of them were given the short end of the stick to a degree. Even if I did like this less mischievous and kind of like sarcastic comedic sort of Flagg, he had a couple scenes of it here and there. I feel like when King wrote him in episode 9, I felt more of that spirit of the character because it was King writing him. You know,
and it's funny because like episode 9 felt more like The Stand than the whole series.
Yeah, I think that's as good a bridge as any. Guys, we're about to get into the spoilery stuff, so we're going to talk about the final episode of The Stand, which is the one that King himself wrote as a new capper to the story. So let's get into it. I didn't care. I thought it was dumb, and I thought it invalidated everything that all of the good guys did throughout the entirety of the series. It's like, oh, okay, so, I mean, it doesn't make sense that he just dies in a nuclear blast, but B, now he doesn't, which makes somehow even less sense. He's just okay, and he just happens across a tribe, and he's going to build up strength again slowly, and there's going to have to be another fight now. And I just don't think that the series that preceded the 9th episode justified the shit that he tried to play in the 9th episode.
You just experienced my whole view of the book.
Okay. Okay.
That you're welcome. Thank you. Welcome to my world.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was no stakes in this 1,000-page book I just read, and there's no reason why I read this.
Okay. Yeah, because it does. It kind of negates everything that happens. It's like,
it doesn't matter
because
it's still there's still going to be good and there's still going to be evil, and there's always going to be Abigail and there's always going to be a Randall Flagg.
Yay. Cause a wheel.
Another cog in the wheel.
And this is where you have to remember the fact that when Stephen King made sure to re-add that stuff into the uncut version, he'd already written a couple of these Dark Tower books and was thinking about just how he wanted, and the Eyes of the Dragon, and the fact that Flagg is this dimensional jumper kind of thing, and we think he's killed at the end, but he's actually kind of teleporting out, so to speak. And so, evil comes back, and the fact that the stand and the struggle is never over. I like those themes. I was more so disappointed with the fact that, okay, there was mention about Franny wanted to go back to Maine, but we actually, in this, see it happen. And a lot of people think that her wanting to leave this safe-seeming society of theirs is kind of a dumb decision. Who knows what sort of danger they can encounter on the way. And, yes, this weird young reincarnation of Mother Abigail out in the cornfields of Nebraska. It was really weird. I did like the whole temptation aspect with Franny. I thought that was kind of cool. It gave me some vibes of everything from End of Days to biblical stuff way back. I thought that was interesting, and I do like the fact that he is able to just reemerge, and the cycle will start again because evil will always return. It is a theme from the book. They're like, we're going to rebuild back up society, and then evil people, they even say in that 9th episode, they're like, well, we've only locked up people for vandalism and for this and that, but eventually somebody here in Boulder is going to probably kill somebody else, and we're going to have to incorporate capital punishment or life imprisonment or whatever. So, I mean, King was very devout in the fact that he was like, things will just reemerge and restart, and that's my whole silliness of the wheel, is the fact that you think you clean stuff up, but evil will always reemerge. And I feel like that's kind of a Christian thing, and then all have sinned and fallen short, and people are born evil, and they have to elevate from that, with hopefully positive experience from those who raise them and things like that. So I guess I look at it a little bit differently, but in more ways, it was once again 60-40. There was episodes of that episode I enjoyed, and aspects where it was just like, we went back to some of this. Okay, that's fine. But I did like seeing the representation of the circle closing and him floating above these people and being like, "Oh, I'm your god now," or whatever the hell he said. I thought that was cool, since they had never done that to screen before.
I know
I'm a golden god.
Yes, he looked more badass in that last episode than he did the whole time, and I'm like, that's not when you start to show your cards. This is the last episode. You do that right off the bat, show some stakes.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, spoiler-wise, that's also where the original representation shows so much, the 94 version, because of the fact that Flagg is perceived as very powerful and insanely evil, and that's why everybody is fearful of him. But then his power starts to break down, he's making poor decisions. They kind of did it a little bit here and there, but people start to hit his subordinates start to lose faith in him, and they're like, maybe we should rebel, maybe we should go to South America and just leave this entire landscape completely. That's the sort of intrigue and insight we didn't get in this because we had to speed through so much, So Lloyd has it in the span of 20 minutes of screen time.
The other thing I think we need to touch on is something we talked about a bit briefly earlier. I know Marcia's got to wrap this up soon, but Trash Can Man.
Yeah.
We never did it. Ezra Miller.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
Was he there?
Ezra Miller, a.k.a. The Flash in the DCEU. This was terrible. He was almost incomprehensible. You're like, yeah, I'm ready for you. Like he didn't do it nearly as well as Max Headroom. The ashless chaps. But then it was so stupid because Flag says, "Bring me the fire," and then he tells everyone else, he's like, yeah, he's gonna take it to an airfield. It's like, no, he's not. You said, "Bring me the fire," and then fucking he shows up with the nuclear bomb. And then God strikes lightning down. Spoilers! Strikes lightning down and destroys everything, and including, all of New Vegas. It just was so stupid. It felt to me, forgive me, like it was even dumber than the way it happened in 1994.
Well, you didn't even get any backstory really on his trauma and all the abuse that he received that got him locked in the Indiana mental institution. And I mean, I think his name is Matt Frewer, the guy who played the role previously.
Right, Max Headroom.
And he got a lot more screen time too. He got literally a few scenes in like 2 episodes, and then that was it. I did think his makeup after the fact, where his face was melting from the radiation, that looked kind of cool. But aside from that, the character, once again, given a major disservice as much as he factors into the storyline.
Yeah, Trash Can Man is like one of my favorite characters out of the source material because he's just so like fucking
So
crazy.
what did you think about this one?
I did forgot he was in it.
See, there you go.
Like what?
I forgot he helped end it.
Trash Can Man, like he rode it on a donkey. What?
Like a golf cart, like a little...
Yeah, one of the little push, like ATV kind of things.
I remember seeing,
he's on like a power wheels.
When they did introduce him, I was like, fuck yeah, Trash Can Man, what? And he's all like pissing on shit. He's
jerking off while watching an explosion.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah, rock on. And then it's like...
And that's where there were a few...
And then, like,
shoot it all over me!
And then all of a sudden, he was blowing up New Vegas. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, like, where was it was such a dramatic leap, and without any indication of what the fuck Trash Can Man's motivations are, the ending comes completely out of nowhere.
And that's kind of what it felt like for me in the books, too, like, though.
Okay, but that doesn't make it a good storytelling technique.
Exactly.
In the book, though, they at least
exactly.
have him exploring the airfield.
Fair play.
I mean, you have the process, you have the backstory. Those are stuff where, I mean... Yes, the book does speed up in the third part, when we're at the stand, and changing it from, because there's a few different versions. There's the original where they're killing our survivors who walked over. They're pulling them apart by vehicles. In the 94 version, they're crucifying them, which I personally prefer because of the fact that he's crucifying other people in the story, so that kind of makes sense to make it a spectacle. In this one, they're chained down and they're going to be drowned.
That was lame.
I thought it was a little weak, to be honest, and it gave so much less payoff, unfortunately, because Larry's character was so good for a few episodes, and then, once again, they just scaled it back to Stu and, Franny and whatnot. His character started so strong.
The show needed to be 20 episodes. It needed to be a full season.
Or 2 to 3 seasons.
One full 22 to 25 episode season would have absolutely been enough, especially if they were an hour. It would have given us time to get to know all the characters, to feel the betrayals when they happen, to not feel rushed along the way, give Mother A and give the Dark Man a chance to shine in their respective outings. This just felt like such a truncated version of the story, even having never read the books, having only watched the 94 series. This felt so rushed that it was just virtually impossible for me to enjoy to its fullest. I watched it every week out of necessity, and I only got excited to watch it on the last 2 episodes because I was like, I knew the second to last episode was the big denouement, and then I knew the 9th episode was a new aftermath. So I cared about the last 2 episodes, but up until then, I frankly just didn't give a shit. I was watching it out of necessity as opposed to desire. WandaVision, on the opposite side of the spectrum, every Friday morning, I'm usually watching it in my bed at 5 in the morning while my kids and lady are sleeping next to me because I want to know. This I watched because I was like, oh, we might review it this week, I better. And then we just never reviewed it until the end. So it's a lot to say that I just don't feel like this series was worth the time in any way, shape, or form.
So do you think you would have felt different if you binge watched it the whole way through? Like,
no.
Like, kind of like... Oh,
no, it still would have felt choppy to me.
Like Walking Dead, like season 2?
I still feel like it would have felt really choppy and underdeveloped.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And that's what we have to clarify right now, because this is a Hail to Stephen King and binge-worthy crossover. Is it binge-worthy? Because it's now bingeable.
In my opinion,
CBS
it's a no.
All Access.
It's a no on the binge-worthy side.
So you have 9 episodes ranging between 46 to 59 minutes apiece. That's what I read.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I was going to sit down and just binge it and watch it for a weekend, I think it's worth it. If you like The Stand, if you like Stephen King, you want to be a completist. It was a beautifully shot series. Just don't expect it to be MOON, like... You
beat me to it. I was going to be MOON. That spells mediocre.
That spells terrible.
I think it's worth it. There's a lot of other shows that I wouldn't watch back to back to back, and I think this one I definitely have. So I think it's binge worthy.
It's borderline. I'm veering right back to the 60-40, and 60 in favor, 40 in, it's
so 60 yes, binge-worthy, 40 not binge-worthy.
Yeah, I would say...
Because that technically means I lose.
Yeah,
technically, I'm in the minority here.
Unfortunately, I still found the tiniest bit more enjoyable about it, because I did like James Marsden. I did like our new Larry. I did really like
James Marsden should stick to Sonic movies.
Well, he's got a second one coming, But this is one I would hesitantly recommend, because of the fact that some who are unfamiliar with the material will be scratching their heads, and yet others may be more okay with the time jumps and the structure.
So Fuego's basically like, you might hate this, but I recommend it. That's basically what
I recommend giving it a try. So I would say, maybe binge a few episodes and see if you get yourself invested. I know it's probably going to be tougher for some people very familiar with the source material. They may have more gripes. So.
Yeah, I feel like if you're really close to the source material or even the original miniseries, it may not be your bag.
Gotcha. All right, so before we go, one last shout out here to Blake Johnson, $5 super chat. Hey guys, love your stuff, especially the King content, if it please ya. I completely agree with you guys on Trash. He wasn't like that in the books. Corey says Trashy was awful in the miniseries, unfortunately. Austin says Larry does have a decent character arc. Okie Jewel says WandaVision. Praise. Yes, that's much better than this. But I think that's pretty much where we're going to end this. Marcia's got to get out of here. We don't want to keep her too long. She's always been already been very beneficial with her time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. We finally got around to it. We spoiled some stuff, but we didn't spoil enough where you can't go back and enjoy it if you really want.
I mean, is it really spoilable at this point? If you've never had anything,
if you've never had any exposure, yeah.
Understand, maybe.
But why don't you guys let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. While you're down there, feel free to click the like button and subscribe if you have not, to make sure you don't miss other reviews going forward. We're actually Marcia, Fuego, and I have recorded 3 reviews prior to this, and then Fuego and I have, I think, 6 or 7 to record after this. So
they have a lot.
We got quite a bit to do. So we have more coming at you soon. Thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Barker.
Gracias, I mean Fuego.
How do you normally end these things?
You know how we normally end these things. And until the Wheel of Cock comes around once more, hasta luego, sin amigos and Fright fans. So hopefully we share more of this palaver sooner rather than later. And until then, remember to stay scared.
That was a mouthful.
Read Stephen King.
That's what she said.